Yesterday, Facebook announced that they would be changing their business model to focus more on private communications. They say it's going to offer encrypted messaging on all of its communication services. But Roger McNamee, one of Facebook's earliest investors, joined Bulls and Bears yesterday, threw a little cold water on the announcement. Take a look.
I think that the business model is really about surveillance. It's really about tracking people everywhere they go and then making predictions and selling that. This will not directly address that. It will reduce some of the pools of data that they get to work from, but I would bet you anything that they do not think those are the most valuable pools going forward.
Joining the panel now is Dave Maney. He is founder and CEO of Deke Digital. So, Dave, who is right here, McNamee or Zuckerberg?
McNamee. Like, without question. There's no equivocation here. There's been this kind of triumvirate of Facebook stories that came out in the last few days, of which this pivot to privacy, as one publication called it today, is the most prominent one. Them saying that we're going to be privacy is going to be about the core of our business offering now. And I don't dispute what Zuckerberg's saying about what his customers want. But what I'm telling you is that this is like Michael Cohen selling truth serum, or like Harvey Weinstein offering advice on how to keep your daughters safe. I mean, it is like the 180-degree opposite of everything that they've done. I find this to be one of the most deliciously kind of ironic stories from the technology world in a very long time.
Dave, I love your comparisons. Christina Partsinevelos here. If we're going to talk about what he gave a Wired interview just within the past 24 hours, Zuckerberg, and he talked about the platform, and it's going to be end-to-end encryption. They're not going to be able to store your data anymore. And we know that's a big deal because advertisers want to be able to target you with that data. Do you think there's an opportunity for Facebook in the near future to use these platforms for other things like buying and payments, like WeChat in China?
Sure, there's a business underneath there, for sure. Like, and I think he's one of the brilliant business guys of, like in American history. So I'm not disputing that he's right if they could do it. But there's 100 of these examples. I mean, it is like the guys at Juul showing up and saying, hey, we're in the respiratory health business now. No. Trust us. I know we've been screwing you guys, but trust us. We've changed.
So you're just saying don't trust them at all, pretty much.
I'm saying that they do not have a head start in offering those kind of services. And there are lots and lots of companies in our economy who and new startups coming at it that want to offer those services, and that it is my firm belief that American consumers will say, hey, thanks, but I think we'll get this somewhere else.
Dave, there was a time when, McDonald's offered nothing healthy, no salads. Then in the mid-2000s, they realized they needed to pivot, start to offer some other options. So is it too late for Microsoft? A lot of the polling suggests that consumers don't care as much as legislators do about privacy. So how much of this from Zuckerberg is about appeasing potential regulators, or is it really about trying to keep those consumers that are starting to peel away?
Boy, I think it's all of the above. I mean, it's a really good observation. I think last time I was on, I talked about the fact that in a political campaign, we gave some assistance on the technology side to. Their polling was showing out here in Wyoming that nobody cared about the privacy issue. But I can also tell you one of the other stories that sort of broke within the last few days was that they've lost something like 12 or 13 million millennial users who do care about those kind of issues and are more attuned to it. And so it's not that they're not sort of doing the right things. It's that at some point I just think it's too late.
My question would be, yes, they're losing all these millennials. The question is, are they losing them because they're offended by the privacy issues or because they're just on to the next thing, whether it's Instagram or Snapchat or whatever?
Very much agree.
I mean, it seems to me that Facebook has to respond to that. They can't just count on millennial adherence overseas or growing their business overseas. So I guess the question to you is, can they be successful in kind of branching onto a new area?
Look, but by the way, I totally agree with you. Long ago, wrote a piece called social media is now a fashion business.
Yeah.
Meaning that, you know, people go and they want the latest thing, but they do. And so you have to think, is there some way that I'm going to get lashed in to a social media platform where I just can't undo it either? Because, and clearly, right, they're smart guys. That's what they're trying. They're sort of saying, well, if we got them hooked on the payment side and we got them hooked on the, you know, the transactional side, then they couldn't go. Because otherwise they can go. And you want to be where the cool kids are, not where the old nerds like me are.
Hey, Dave, we've got breaking news. I'm afraid we've got to leave it at that. But terrific to have you here. Please come back and see us soon. Good stuff. I appreciate it.
Guys.